What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Kart 63, brought to you by Track Tack Tire Treatments. I'm gonna just leave it like that because I've tried to throw some extra words in there in videos obviously you've not seen, and it is really I'm really uncomfortable still, but it's getting easier because I know that I see them. I wear the hat. I see the products. I know that I have to do that. That'll do for now, I guess. Anyway, my name is Ben. In case you didn't know, if you didn't mind hitting a like on the video, possibly subscribe to the channel. If you are not a subscriber already, that would be fantastic. Now, I've been trying to do another video. I don't like controversial stuff. I try and keep this pretty even keel on this, very lighthearted. You know, I like to smile a lot and tell jokes and blah, blah, blah. So I've tried to film the same video a couple times, just don't like the way it's coming off. And it's not like controversial. Just people are going to have some hard opinions on it. I have my opinions on it, and it's not like I think I'm going to drive anybody away, but it's uncomfortable to do. I don't like being Mr. Serious. So it's not the video we have offered up for you today, but this did come up Thursday, and it really, I had some experience with this past weekend running clone, or I guess last week running clone, and I thought we could talk about it. Okay, we are going to talk about defensive driving. I think I spelled defensive right. I've been out of school darn near 30 years, so sue me. My phone does all my editing for my spell check and all that, so it is what it is. So defensive driving, what is it? It is holding your position. Making sure that you're holding position, whether you're, blocking, which I'm not a fan of. You are swerving, which I'm not a fan of, or you're trimming down a little bit to make sure that the person does not get, say, a crossover run, or, you know where they're good, you can sense where they're good, and just leaning into it a little bit so it kills their momentum. Now that, I would say, is gamesmanship. If you're trimming high, if you're trimming low, if you're making it difficult for the person to pass you, you know where they might be good, or you just pass them so you know what line they're running, and you get into their line to stop their momentum, I believe that is defensive driving, and that is good. Everybody's going to do it, and if you don't do it, you're probably going to get crossed back over. You're probably going to, lose your position if you're not aware of your surroundings and aware of where people might be a little better than you or not, type of thing. Now, what I don't think is defensive driving is yanking down. That's blocking. When you're hogging the bottom, coming off the corner, you can do it. That is a form of defense, but as many people have found out, that if you are willing to just out and out block, don't get mad when you're moved. I really, it's not, and it's not like, hey, this is my position. Yes, true. But we all know you're stacking up the field, you're holding up everybody. Everybody knows you're blocking. So if you get moved, I'm sorry, man. You can be as mad as you want, but it's going to happen every single time. If you are just blatantly blocking and you go for a ride, if somebody moves you, it is what it is. You can debate whether or not that's correct or not. Hey, I'm in the lead, so I'm the faster kart. No, sometimes you are not the fastest kart on the track, and sometimes you are holding up other karts from coming through. Now, you have your position for a reason, but if you're doing something such as blocking, it's not really that. Now, I say that I had a little experience this past week, and it happened, a couple karts, and I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not even mad about it. It's just not something I had experience in. So, come off the corner, I believe they got by me. In this one instance that I'm currently thinking, they got by me, and so they were, coming into the turn too low. So I set out high, so I allowed them to go to the bottom. They picked up off the bottom. I had a nice run from the top side coming in. I got a good run under them. I just got my nose to the left rear, and it happened twice, two different racers, but we're midway straightaway. This is me. I'm coming inside, so I have my nose there, and just this. and like clean my nose off, like to stop my momentum. Is that defense or is it dirty? Because I know, and don't get me wrong, I have, even though this is my first year really running clone, I've seen it happen more than I care to see. But it was the first time I ever experienced it. It's not something I'm probably ever going to do. Now, if these two carts are here and say, this is me, I just got by and I'm trying to protect, what I am going to do is what I first mentioned would be I would trim down. There would be no erratic moves. I'm not doing that because I don't like that. It's a respect thing. And I'm not saying you disrespect the person for doing it. It's just something that I was not acclimated to. Basically, if you do that in an open, if you are on UAS and you just try and clean somebody's going for a ride. In UAS, we have a lot more horsepower. They're a lot, they're not as stable. That from my experience out, yes, they have great grunt, they're this and that. Yes, we have wings and wedges to plant us to the ground, but there's also a real volatility in the stability of the cart because you're running so much horsepower. So if you're coming off the corner and this is UAS and somebody does this cart is just, woo, it's going to go. They're a lot heavier. They hit a lot harder. It's just been, that's my primary experience is running UAS stuff. We don't do things like that. Defensively, I don't want to say this was an offensive thing that I had happened to me. I was shoved into the corner. That was something new. That does occasionally happen in UAS, not so much. Dive bombs happen probably more often than a shoved into the corner. It was just a new experience. I went to go and turn, and I went like this, and I'm like, hey, turn it, man. What is going on? It's because somebody was on my bumper. Because your horsepower is so close to one another, that is a tactic that, it's not really defensive, that's offensive, but it's something that I experienced in clone right there. So just be mindful. It is my general thought here. If you're new to racing, if you're bringing a young one up in, try and keep an eye out for this stuff, whether your competitors are doing it to you or maybe, we don't want the newer generation to learn the bad habits from the older generation type of thing. Try and keep it as clean as possible. I know little gamesmanship type of things, happen. I know the trimming of the, holding your line and this and that, making it uncomfortable. That is defensive driving in, that is part of your arsenal. If you're a couple laps, away from a win, obviously you're not just going to open up the bottom. You're not going to take a lane up. You're not going to do those things. You're going to defensively drive, make it as difficult as possible for the person behind you to pass. But keep in mind, blocking, just blatantly blocking, chances are things are not going to go your way. Somebody's going to get pretty upset at you and, try and not be mad about, hey, man, if I was blocking and somebody moved me, would it suck? Yes. Would I understand why they had to move me also? Yes. Yes, I do. But that if we could keep away from that straightaway stuff, I didn't like that at all. Not cool. Like, again, I'm not calling out anybody or anything. It's just, I've seen it happen before. It was just the first time it ever happened to me. Didn't much care for it. Maybe it happened to me one time in the heat race and then one time in the feature. Or maybe it was twice in the feature. I don't know. I didn't like it. So I didn't think that was as defensive as it is more like blocking, which I don't find a defensive tactic. I believe that, killing somebody's momentum is one thing, blocking or trying to take their nose off, whole different thing, chopping down on people. That's defensive. I guess we could mention that, right? When you're entering the corner, say somebody does have position, what some might consider a defensive maneuver would be to chop this down and try and make the entry for the cart that is, conceivably have position on you, make it as uncomfortable as possible. Now, you run the risk. If you chop somebody, you're in a very vulnerable position. It's not always just going to take their nose off. Chances are it's going to do this to your cart. And if you turn down on somebody, don't be, it's a defensive tactic that you might be able to use. But again, if you chop down and you go for a ride, understand that, hey, man, they had a wheel on you. They had the position. Maybe, that save yourself, live to fight another day type of thing. That time, if you might let somebody go and then get the run back on them. See where they're beating you, see where you can get a run on them, get back by them, know where they're faster. Just, this is, I like to do videos like this because not only, yes, all the tire stuff, the setup stuff is all very necessary, but you are racers. Once you hit the track, you are a racer. And racer etiquette, your gamemanship, how all this stuff comes into play, and these scenarios are going to be valid when you're out there racing. Live to fight another day. Maybe don't block that hard. Maybe, like I said, watch them run their line and then pick up how you might be faster. Maybe you're not entering high enough. Maybe you're entering, maybe you're entering too high and you're losing grip, and you're opening up the bottom to where people are making you susceptible for the pass. So there you go, guys. Like I said, I was trying to evade being it's not that controversial. I'm making it a bigger thing than it is. The video idea, it'll be a good video once I get my ducks in order of how I want to lay out my argument. Yeah, we'll go with that. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember that Kart 6T3 is brought to you by Track Tech Tire Treatments. Treatments for tires and tracks. There we go. Ooh, I won't remember to do it on the entry of the next video. But anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate all of you coming by as always, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.